I went in to have them removed. I told my plastic surgeon I was done. He said he can make me absolutely beautiful with these. And then I developed really bad itching. Going to dermatologists, my primary care, oncologist, every one of those visits asking, what's wrong? None of them knew.
You know your body more than anyone.
I just went to Rome last month. Told me brentuximab is the first line of cure. Women are being cured right now without doing all these other things.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I am Dawn Funk coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am so honored and privileged to have a new friend that I just actually met here recently through an amazing B.I.I support group. Her name is Roxanne, and you guys are in for a treat today because she has just such an incredible story of just overcoming, and now I'm so grateful for her passion to just really educate everyone about everything that she's been through, and just her heart to go out there and be a light for so many people that are maybe struggling in the world of breast implant illness. And so it's just an honor to be on here with you today. And this is our second episode. So if you guys listened to the first episode, I had my great friend Christina, absolutely amazing, just sharing. So if you haven't had a chance, go back and listen to that. But today, like I said, I am going to be talking with Roxanne, my new friend, and I'm just going to kind of read through just some of her, credentials and why I just really felt like God was calling her to be on here today for you guys to hear from her. So she was diagnosed with BIA-ALCL stage 4, and she's going to explain that here in just a second. But she also is the admin of two incredible groups that support women. One is a global support group with women with BIA-ALCL. And then she's also another admin for a global awareness group for patients from a clinical site. And if I messed any of that up, Roxanne, make sure you correct me with that. But again, I'm just so grateful. I know that, God's going to use you in a really powerful way today as you just reflect on some of these questions that we've talked about. But first and foremost, let's let our listeners just hear who you are and what you do, and just, your journey, with breast implant illness, and of course, just your other diagnosis. So please go ahead and take it away, friend.
Aw, thanks, Chris. Thanks, Dawn. Hi, I'm Roxanne. Thanks, Dawn, for letting me be your second guest. I feel very honored. My story begins with being diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer in 2012. I was sent off to a plastic surgeon right away to check into getting some breast implants. And of course, that was the last thing on my mind when you're being diagnosed with breast cancer. You're thinking about, are you going to die, or are you going to have that awful chemotherapy, lose your hair? You're not thinking about anything else. So we asked the plastic surgeon many questions, and one of them was, can you get a cancer from these breast implants? And he said, absolutely not. And the only side effects that you can get from them would be the anesthesia, and that doesn't happen very often. And I can make you beautiful, Roxanne. So when somebody tells you that and you're feeling down, you're, pretty much going to say, okay. So I went through my bilateral mastectomies and had my expanders put in, and 6 months of some pretty harsh chemotherapy, lost my hair. And then 3 months later, in October of 2013, I had my reconstruction done with Mentor Smooth implants. And they look terrible, just terrible. There were smooth implants that looked like balls on my chest, and one was higher than the other. And so I had to go back in multiple times to have them adjusted and have fat grafting put in, and it didn't seem like anything worked. They just, looked like two balls sitting on my chest. So in April of 2014, I went in to have them removed. I told my plastic surgeon I was done. I'm just going to go flat. And he said he has some new implants that just came out. Little did I know they had not just come out. These elegant textured teardrop implants. And he can make me absolutely beautiful with these. I'm going to be so happy. And my husband asked the question again, what are the side effects? Can she get a cancer? Well, can anything leak out of these? What's the difference, between these smooth and textured, and he said, oh, you can't even cut these with a knife. And he threw them on the floor. Nothing. Nothing can come out of these. You are going to have a whole new look. It's going to look like you have real breasts. Craig, you're going to be happy. Roxanne, you're going to be so beautiful. You can't go wrong with these, and talked me right into it. So I said, okay, last try. But if this doesn't work, I'm done. So had them put in, and in 2015, felt like I need a little bit of tightening up and a little bit of fat grafting to see if I could get a little bit of cleavage, because I was so concave. And so he took my implants out and just washed them in some betadine and threw them back in me, and threw a little fat grafting in there. Little did I know, you're not supposed to be doing that. And in 2016, I developed some fluid, and went in. He did an MRI, had me do an MRI, and said, tested it. He drained it. He didn't test it, and said, that's just normal. You'll be fine. And then I developed itching, really bad itching over the next few years, and I kept going to dermatologists, my primary care oncologist, every one of those visits, asking, what's wrong? I'm tired, I'm not thinking right. I just don't get it. What's causing this rash? And none of them knew. Put some hydrocortisone cream on it. It's thin, just don't put a lot on. Take Benadryl. It's probably just your hormones. You're getting older, Roxanne, think about it. And, it was frustrating because I couldn't get any answers and just itch every night. So I just dealt with it. And then 2018 in July, I was going to bed one night and noticed my breast had swelled. My left breast had swelled, implant like 3 times the size of my right. And I had lots of pressure. So I looked up online and I was looking at my symptoms, and it showed this BIA-ALCL. I told my husband, oh my God, Craig, I think I might have this cancer. Breast implant associated anaplastic large cell lymphoma. That's what BIA-ALCL is. And he's like, oh, cut it out, Roxanne. And I said, I'm calling a plastic surgeon in the morning. So I called, went in, and I walked in, and he said, why are you here? Your implants look totally fine. There's nothing wrong with you. And I was like, what? The pressure is so bad. I feel like it's going to pop out. And he said, no. I go, what about this BIA-ALCL? I just looked up my symptoms online. And he said, that is so rare. There's no way in hell you have that. Don't even think like that. And I said, no, seriously, something's wrong. Can I get an MRI, to make sure? And he said, I don't think you need it, Roxanne. And he says, what if we just see if maybe, maybe this one might be a little smaller. Maybe we'll flip it over, and maybe that right one just flipped back. And these are textured, mind you. So they don't move, but I didn't know this. So, he had me pull up and he just tried to rip that sucker right up. And I screamed and said, stop, just order the MRI. And he ordered the MRI. And as he was walking out the door, I said, so is insurance going to cover this if I need new implants? I'm not thinking that anything other than, oh, I need my implants back in. He said, and he looked at me funny and he was like, well, of course, anything you get done is going to be covered. You have breast cancer, duh. And then just walked out the door. So the next day I had an ultrasound and it showed fluid. Then they did the MRI. Then following day, it showed a seroma and lots of fluid. So he set me up the following day for an aspiration and a drain to be put in. And I made sure he had orders for this fluid to be tested for CD30 to rule out the BIA-ALCL. Got there, the radiologist had no orders. I refused to do the test unless he got the orders from the plastic surgeon. So, because he had never heard of this BIA-ALCL or the testing. So he got those orders and I had that testing done. A week later, I got my drain out. Everything was fine. Then I went the next day and I woke up, felt great. A couple hours later, I was getting deathly sick. I mean, sick. I didn't know. I called my husband home when I was lethargic and we called the plastic surgeon. He said it was nothing but the flu probably, and as I got worse, we called him back. And because my primary care, who is the best primary care in the world, said, call that doctor, plastic surgeon back. You probably have an infection from the drain. So, or from your implant. And so after we called him, he said, fine, you can go get a CBC at the outpatient center. And so I went and got one, and practically crawling in there, they said, no, we're taking you down, rolled me down to the ER. And that girl saved my life. Because when I walked in, they drew all this blood, started an IV, and ended up being diagnosed with sepsis. And I was in septic shock and fighting for my life by that point. And they had to pump in 7 bags of IV fluids just to get me over to the ICU at the hospital to have emergency surgery to remove the implant. And my husband had asked the plastic surgeon before they rolled me into surgery after they put a central line in me to please remove the capsules, both capsules and implants, so I would not have to go through any more surgeries, put me through that again. And that's what we had read online. So the cancer doesn't spread, to please remove the capsules. And he said, he'll do his best. Then I came out, I woke up and my husband was sitting there next to me in the ICU. And I asked, and he said, no, I'm sorry, Roxanne, he just biopsied. I go, oh my God. Of course, my tears were rolling because I knew I'd be the one person where the cancer spread all over my body. And I was devastated. So he knew, my plastic surgeon had already had the results from Mayo that I had BIA-ALCL, and they had already told him to remove my capsules and the implants before I went into surgery, but I didn't know that. And so when I got out of there, we went to Mayo Clinic to get the best care because that's where my testing had been to. So I knew they knew what BIA-ALCL was. And at the time, my plastic surgeon, they couldn't even tell me, and left on vacation. So while I was in the ICU and had no covering doctor, I couldn't even get questions answered about this cancer. And my oncologist there didn't know anything about it. So he didn't come and talk to me about it. So I was strictly on my own once I was diagnosed. It's looking on the internet, find out everything. I had to go to groups on Facebook. I was all alone. And so we drove up to Mayo. The hematologist there looked at me and he's like, oh my God, what did this plastic surgeon do? We told him to take it out, what to do. And why didn't he listen? Now we're going to have to clean up his mess. Oh my God. And I go, well, he went to Notre Dame, he's board certified. And he goes, well, anybody can go to Notre Dame and buy a sweatshirt in the gift shop. And Craig and I just looked at each other like, like, oh my God, have we been seeing, like some fake person, But anyway, he ordered a PET scan for me because I felt fluid. And so, he was afraid I was going into septic shock again from what was left inside me. And I saw a plastic surgeon and she was going to do surgery, only if the fluid was building up again. So I had a PET scan that day, which scared the bejesus out of me because to me, getting a PET scan with cancer means you're in a bad stage of cancer. And I had that, and they called me that night and said that, yeah, I had fluid and it also lit up in my mammary nodes showing cancer was there. So I had emergency surgery the next morning at 7:30 in the morning. Great doctors, excellent plastic surgeon, hematologist, can't even tell you. Removed part of my ribs to get to those mammary nodes. The rest of the capsule, the other capsule implant, phenomenal. And the only bad thing was that was a false positive reading, because if you have a PET scan too close to a surgery, it'll give false positive readings, which happened to me. So I didn't need those removed. But everything was fine. I did have a little fluid build up, and I had to drive back to Mayo, which is a 6-hour drive, to get that drained. And I had to test it again, of course, even though it was postoperative fluid. I wanted to make sure it wasn't, BIALCL building back up. And it was negative. It was good. And then I had my first 3-month real PET scan in November. And unfortunately, it showed my next 2 mammary nodes lighting up. And it, they needed to biopsy them. So they gave me some twilight to put me under, to go in there and take some out in radiology. And of course, those came back positive. Who would have thought that's happening? Because I thought, oh, no big deal. The implants are gone. The cancer's gone. I'm cured, but no, I had a reoccurrence. And so I was at Mayo at that time, and they wanted to try cryoablation. They had tried it on different types of ALCL patients, but not a BIA-ALCL patient, and really wanted me to be their first patient to do it for a cure versus chemo. And I thought I'd try, I told them I want to get a second consult from MD Anderson, because in my Facebook groups, they had talked highly of MD Anderson's physicians, Mark Clemens and Nathan Fowler. So I set up to see them and flew out to Houston. And at first they thought it was okay for the cryoablation until I saw their radiation docs, and their radiation doc said absolutely not. Inflammation, feeds on this, but I said, oh, it's a chance for chemo cure, and so I had to think about it. I was going back and forth, and then finally I decided do it, because I just knew I couldn't go through that chemo again. And I wanted to take the chance. So in January 2019, I had the cryoablation. It was painful, hurt like hell for a couple months. And then a couple months down the road, I felt a big lump on my chest and had to go back in for a PET scan, drove 6 hours to Mayo, and they did a PET scan. They said it looked probably like, it was necrotic tissue, but they weren't sure. So I sent my report to MD Anderson, and they had me fly down there because they said it looked pretty bad. And they did biopsies, and they came back inconclusive. So they had me fly back down the following month for another PET scan. And it's lit up, but not as bad. So they said, wait another 3 months. And the thing with this cancer is it's a wait and watch game. It's like a mind game. Wait and watch, wait to watch, wait and watch. And for Mayo, it was like a wait and watch, because they want that cryoablation to be a cure for us, to use it, write me down in the books. And I was like game for it, because I wanted to be their first patient to be cured with it. But I wait and watch, but it wasn't seeming to work for me. In July, I had another lump. They biopsied. I went in for another PET scan, and did a PET scan, and they biopsied that one. That one just showed B cells and some CD20 And they said, oh, no worries. That's nothing to worry about, Roxanne. In fact, we think you're in remission. And so I called, MD Anderson. They go, oh, yeah, they're right. You're in remission, Roxanne. Don't, you're done with this. And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, this is craziness. How the hell can I be in remission with all this? My chest is like, still has pressure in it. And it can't be from the ablation all the way here in July now. And they just thought, Roxanne, stop worrying about it. And then, hung up the phone. I called my family. I'm like, they think I'm in remission. And they go, Mom, my daughter's like, Mom, move on. You got to just quit. Get off the Facebook groups. Quit that advocating. You need to just move on and quit thinking about this cancer. You are cured. And I'm like, you have no idea, and the rest of my family, same thing. They just, you just consume yourself at the Facebook groups, but little did they know how much those people helped me. And, I sat in the chair outside for about 6 hours that day in a state of depression before I, called my psychologist and my husband home. And, before I get knocked out of that depression, because I didn't think I was cured, but I moved on and waited. And I went for my next PET scan in November, and 3 months later, and I was all excited, didn't think anything of it because I was cured. And they told me at that point, I was at MD Anderson, and they told me my PET scan was not good. And I said, well, and they said, it's not so good that not only is the left side now lymph nodes on my clavicles, the clavicles lighting up, but the chain all the way across is lighting up. And my whole mammary chain of mammary nodes are lighting up on the PET scan, and both my lungs. And it spread too. And I said, how could this be when you just told me I was in remission 3 months ago? I was telling you guys, I know I'm not in remission. We should do something. And they said, it just happens. You can never tell with this cancer. And I go, but that's too quick. I go, that was just too quick. And, and they told me, I have, most likely less than a year to live. And if the treatment doesn't work. And I was pretty much devastated at that point, devastated. And, and the doctor kind of just patted me on the knee and to comfort me and said, don't worry, Roxanne, if the chemo doesn't work, we have a backup plan. We can do a stem cell transplant. And I just looked at him like, I'm not doing any of that. I just went to Rome last month, and they told me brentuximab is the first line of cure. I go, women are being cured right now of that stuff from just brentuximab without doing all these other things. And he's like, Roxanne, we have to be aggressive with you. Don't you understand how sick you are? And I just said, it doesn't matter how sick I am. These women were sick too. I'm going to take my chances. I want to take my chances. And I beg you to let me take brentuximab. And he, like Mayo, took it, to his tumor board, and also talked to Sloan Kettering and experts, and called me a week later and told me that they agree with me and they will start me on brentuximab, and I can do my treatment. 8 doses, eight sessions of brentuximab, and then we'll see if that works. And I was ecstatic. And then someone was listening. It was great. And then I had 4 treatments, because that would be my next 3-month PET scan. And then it showed on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the worst and 1 being the best for our category cancer, I was down to a 2, almost cured. And then I would come back in the next 3 months. Well, I had 3 more sessions, treatments, and my body couldn't handle it. The neuropathy in my feet and hands were so bad, and I ended up having almost a stroke. My head facial drooping, and my face just went numb. So they had to immediately stop my treatment. And I had a spot on the brain. So, which can cause, it's a part of our cancer that can cause another cancer, a bad disease in the brain. So my treatments were stopped. But I went to get my next PET scan, and it showed a 1. So I was cured, in total remission, complete remission, as they put it, but it did show one spot on my iliac area there, but they're just going to watch it. But everything else is gone. And I went for my second PET scan in December, and it was the exact same thing, just that little spot in my iliac area. Just watching, and they think it's inflammation because I just moved, and from all the work, it's been a lot going on. So I go March 22nd for my next one, and I'm praying that I'm still in remission. And that's my story.
I'm like sitting here, oh, man, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much for just being so open and honest. And I think the biggest thing that's jumping out at me right now listening to you is how you have 100% trusted yourself and your gut with this. And whether that's God speaking to you or whatever, it's just amazing to me how you have just taken such ownership of your health and just fought for yourself so much. And I think this is going to be huge for other women to hear this, that sometimes when doctors tell you things that your body more than anyone. And I am just so inspired at just your faith and your trust in your gut. And I am going to mark down March 22nd on my calendar because I'm going to be praying for you that day. Um, and I hope everyone who listens to this podcast will take a few minutes that day and just pray for you, because
Thank
I am
you.
believing 100% right now that when that comes back, it's going to be all clear. And I'm believing that so much.
Me too.
You are just, oh, you are so strong. So, I mean, obviously, I could. This next question, I mean, we've heard so much already, but I mean, I just want to hear from your heart. When you look back at this, I mean, what, 7-year journey? Is that how long it's been?
Well, since I had the breast implants, 2012, now it's going on 9 years.
Okay.
But for the breast implants, 13 to 20, 7 years.
Wow. Yeah. So as you look back at this long journey, what has been just the hardest, most frustrating part of it? I mean, obviously, just the runaround maybe with the doctors, but just, share with us what has been the hardest part for you.
The hardest part is no one has any answers for me. No one. Everywhere I go, there's no knowledge on my cancer. Every physician I go to, I have to take paperwork because they have never heard of my cancer. I was diagnosed stage 4. They don't even have answers to how to treat stage 4. I mean, they don't know. It's all goes by trial and error for us because they don't know. They just have no clue. It's so frustrating. They won't study us as patients. There's so many of us that are willing to participate, but they won't study us that have it. They're studying, just a portion of the newer patients. But, those of us that are here and that have been diagnosed now for the few years, study us. I mean, it's like, we know, I mean, you have all of our stuff, and why can't oncologists, warn their patients that when they go send them for reconstruction, options, tell them about the cancer, then they have a second thought in their mind when they go see them. Hey, when you see that reconstruction person, I want you to know about that cancer. There's a cancer those implants can cause you. So there's other options, to think about. It's frustrating. The oncologists don't even know anything about the BIA-ALCL. Mine wouldn't even come see me in the hospital because he didn't have any information on my cancer. Now that's pretty pathetic. I mean, just, when I went to see him for my breast cancer, follow-up, I asked why he wouldn't see me when he was rounding that day, because I didn't have any answers for you, Roxanne. I didn't know anything about the cancer.
Oh,
That's unacceptable.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, well,
I'm sorry.
I think what's so frustrating too is that when women are so vulnerable, like you said, like, I mean, just that, and when you shared a couple times about how, oh, this is going to make you look beautiful again, it's like, oh my gosh, like your health is worth so much more. And,
Yes.
I mean, they should not be taking advantage of a woman's vulnerability. Do you know what I mean? At that moment. And like you said, they need to be educating people about, hey, this is a possibility that could happen so that people know the risks. And that's
Exactly.
so sad. And it's, I think, and I hate to say it, but it comes down to money. I mean, it's big
Mhm.
money, this industry. And I think exposing, things like this, is not a good thing, obviously, for the industry, because they want women getting the implants. And that's really frustrating to me when I think about women like you and your situation who've had cancer, and then now they're loading you up with breast implants, which is going to lead to more inflammation. I mean, you're putting two huge foreign objects in your body, which is going to lead to more inflammation and more issues. It's just, to me, it's absolutely just
And
horrifying.
then when you're diagnosed, with this cancer, the plastic surgeon has no answers for you because they have this much knowledge on the cancer.
Yeah.
What gets me is they have every bit of knowledge on how to put those implants in,
Yep.
but if you get the cancer from it,
Mm-hmm.
they know nothing.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to have to go talk to an oncologist about that. I have no idea.
Yeah. That's
You
so
know,
crazy.
come on.
Yeah. That's awful. That's awful.
Who's
So,
the first person we're going to go see
yeah.
with our breast implants, and
Mm-hmm.
who's going to test it? He is.
Yeah. Yeah.
He should
Exactly.
tell us, they have knowledge on it.
Mhm. Well, and I think the other thing you said that I really connected to was just thank God for these groups. I mean, thank God for the groups on Facebook. I mean, I remember too, just my family and my closest friends, like they just didn't get it. Like I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't get answers. And I'm so grateful for a brave mom here in my community who told me about a huge support group on Facebook, so that I could go educate myself. And that's where I really felt the comfort going, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. Like, and so that's what I
Mhm.
think is so great that you have set up some of these groups so that other women in your situation can get in there and go, it's not just me. And just the knowledge that you've accrued over these years. I mean, just some of the doctors names that you've dropped, the places that you've gone, like that's going to be life changing to other women.
Mhm.
So that's huge that you are speaking out. So my next question that I would just love to ask you is, you know um, just when you think back over this journey, what has helped you as far as your healing emotionally and mentally and even physically? Like what has been a part of helping you with this healing process, that you've been going through?
Well, the healing process, I think what's helped me the most are those Facebook groups and um, advocating. It is so rewarding to help those women. They feel so helpless. They are so sick. Doctors, insurance companies aren't paying for them to explant, and they have the recalled implants from 2019, and which I went to the FDA with the 70 other women to help get them recalled, which they were recalled in July, and my implant. And I just feel awful for these women. Most of them have to do GoFundMe pages just to get them out, and I just feel so sad for them. And when I can just help them with one tiny bit of information, and you can just, I can't see their face, I've never seen them in person, but when I see that post back to me, I can feel their feelings. It's so rewarding. They're like, thank you so much, Roxanne. I mean, it is just the best feeling ever to me to have that. I mean, it's rewarding. I mean, mentally, that helps me so much. And physically, I've learned to eat so much better. I'm trying to eat so much better. There are days I give in, sure. You know, I have a sweet tooth and I've got to have my ice cream or chocolate once in a while, you know, but um and I now walk every day since I've moved to Arizona. It's been a life-changing situation for me. I've never walked as much, twice a day, and I've even started going to the gym, and it's made me feel so much better. I mean, just so much better since being diagnosed. It's actually helped me.
I love that. And I know I have a chocolate addiction too, so I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I've gotten better though. I now use like the Lily's brand chocolate chips, which are like no sugar added. But
Oh, good
yeah,
for
so,
you.
so those are they taste pretty good. But
Yeah, try those.
no, the struggle is real. Gosh. Thank you so much. And you're so right. I mean, that is, when you think about just, why me, right?
Mhm.
At least you can maybe have, like, it sounds like, you just have peace in knowing that, gosh, you know, you are bringing a voice to this, you are saving people's lives. And as awful as it has been to go through what you've gone through, it is helping so many people. And that helps you hopefully as it does me, just make more sense of it and give you maybe just more peace and knowing that you are making a difference.
Thanks.
So I just
I mean,
I
I had to go to Rome to learn about my cancer
oh my,
because
that's just
nobody here has answers. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that was like being in a candy store. You know what I mean? Who do I get? Who do I get to talk to? Because I met so many phenomenal people there to learn about my cancer. And that's where I met the best friends that I have right now,
wow, mm,
and it's amazing. Those
yeah,
people that I can go to for support now,
mhm, yeah,
doctors, scientists, and they anyway.
yeah,
And it's because, I showed them respect and I went there to learn about my cancer and
yeah,
I have knowledge now.
yeah,
And it's huge.
mm,
It's huge. But to have to learn constantly as a patient, I feel like I'm MD Rex for BIA-ALCL.
yeah. Well, and I think too, that's what's so powerful about you and your story is that you are willing to just keep digging and digging and digging to get answers and even travel over to another country to get knowledge. And, and that's the really sad thing. And I know you touched on this, and this is what breaks my heart too, is just all the women who can't afford to do that kind of research, who can't even afford to have the surgery. And so,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, oh my gosh, that's who my heart breaks for. I have a little cookie community that I started, gosh, about 9 months ago. And it's a small way that I just try to bring awareness to breast implant illness. And we sponsor women to go through like a pre and post explant program with Christina. But like, and that's great. But at the same time, I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, like I want to do more. Like I want to get to a point
Mhm.
to where I can raise money or partner with doctors and actually be able to provide the surgery expenses for these women, because I can't even imagine being that sick and literally, I mean, the fact that insurance, that's what kills me, that insurance does not cover this.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, are you kidding me? Like, especially, when people can smoke cigarettes and
Oh,
get
yep.
lung cancer and doctors will treat that, but they won't. I mean, it's just mind blowing. But anyway, so Roxanne, what is just, your biggest piece of advice to anyone who is considering having explant, which I highly encourage for anyone that has breast implants, but what is your biggest piece of advice to them in terms of having that surgery?
If they choose to explant, they need to find a board certified surgeon first off, and one that is knowledgeable and continuously does explants and with implants, and will is knowledgeable about BIA-ALCL, breast implant anaplastic large cell lymphoma. Okay, if they don't know about BIA-ALCL, you don't want to use them. Okay, you need to have every plastic surgeon should be testing those capsules, whether they be smooth or textured. They say only one. There are no smooth cases to date of this cancer, but the majority of us had two types of implants, smooth and textured, in our bodies. So they can't say there was only one smooth only case. So until they test every single person's capsules that had smooth and textured, we don't know for sure. There's so many women sick with smooth implants. How do we know they don't have that cancer? And you've got to find a physician that's willing to test for the CD30. They're telling the girls that, yes, we will test, and then they don't get the test done. And the plastic surgeon will just tell them, oh, I tested. And then they'll send me their path report and I'll look at it and I'll say, no, you weren't tested. And then they'll send me to go, oh, sorry about that. You didn't need it. They looked fine. It's like, seriously, you have to find somebody that will test your every capsule should be tested. And I just think you can't go to somebody that just strictly does explants, because those plastic surgeons are just out right now since a recall, just to make money off all these women that are frantically trying to get explanted since the recall, to get those implants out, especially the breast cancer patients. I feel so bad for them, already having a cancer, and now they have these implants in, and these plastic surgeons still aren't testing them for CD30, and knowing that they've got a higher risk of getting this cancer. So please, please, please get tested for CD30 to rule out BIA-ALCL. And if you do get explanted and you get diagnosed with this cancer, whether it be, you had those implants for augmentation or breast cancer, don't be ashamed to tell someone you have this cancer. It's not your fault. It is not your fault. This is a man-made cancer. The implants gave them to you. The manufacturers knew. We should have been informed of the cancer. It's not your fault. You need that family. You need those friends. That's what's helped me through all of this. You need that tribe, as somebody in my group said, when I was looking for some input for the podcast, they said, it took a while because of the shame. There is no shame. All right. There is no shame. This is just like buying anything else. Going and get a new hip, going and get your tooth put in. Okay. There should be no shame. All right. We were not informed that we could get this cancer. All right. You need your tribe. All right. Then you can move on and you can help others, and they will help you feel good, and you can just be happy and have hope. You'll have hope again. That was another big thing. Just have hope, because there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
We could have a mic drop right there, Roxanne. I'm not even kidding. Wow. I feel like I need my mic to just drop it. So good. Well, and I love, like, again, I don't know a lot about BIA-ALCL. And so that's why I'm so glad that you were my guest today, because I just think so many women need to be educated. And just your point, like, I'm going to be honest, like, I requested that, but I need to go back and see, do I have actual real proof that my, capsules were tested for that? So now you've got me thinking, like, I need to go back and check. But but like you, I mean, I did a lot of research and deciding on the right doctor. I did go to a double board certified surgeon
Oh,
down in
wow.
Florida. Yeah, he Dr. Dev, down at Aquaplastic Surgery. He was amazing. He was, double board certified. He actually used to do chest reconstruction before he became a plastic surgeon. He's absolutely amazing.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and we drove, I mean, I live in Ohio. We drove to Florida just to have surgery with him. Absolutely just amazing experience. And I believe that was Christina's doctor as well. But So, but yeah, you got to do your homework. You can't just go to any old doctor, any old plastic surgeon. You've got to make sure that they take the entire capsule out. And
Yes, that's what I forgot
yeah,
to say.
oh,
Oh,
yes,
thank you.
that's so huge. Like, and I didn't know that. I mean, again, just going back to, I love what you said. You've got to find your tribe. You've got to get in these support groups, because these are things that you're going to learn from the other women who've gone before you, and experienced these things. So, gosh, thank you so much for just encouraging all of us to have that test done. All right. So as we kind of, bring this to a close, and honestly, Roxanne, I could sit here and listen to you for hours, and I bet all of our viewers are thinking the same thing. But
Oh.
just any last words, anything on your heart, that you want to share, just please go ahead and take a couple minutes to do that.
Oh, I just want to. I feel like I'm at the awards, Academy Awards, my husband's been there a huge support for me during this. And I didn't thank him, when all my stuff, but you know what? He's been the one and only that I could sit and talk with. And out of everyone, knew I was in the Facebook support, knew it was good for me. Yeah, he told me I need to get off once in a while. It was too much, but he was good for me. He was really good. He's helped me a lot, and I love him to death because he has been my number one through this whole thing. And, breast cancer, it was a little different, but when it came to the implant cancer, it was life changing for me with him. So with him and all of my Facebook brand new friends, I love them all. And my new physicians and pathologists and scientists, you all know who you are: Fabio, Dr. Clemens, Pat McGuire, Roberto Miranda, all of you. I love you all and can't thank you enough for treating me and helping me through my journey.
You're so awesome. I know. Oh, I love that. And, I'm a firm
How's
believer.
that for an interview?
That was amazing. Well, again, I think this is what people appreciate are the names. Like, they want to know, like, that was huge for me. Like, I want to know doctors' names. I want to know specific details, because you just can't find it, and so it's so huge when, like I said, people like you that are willing to share those important details, and you have authentic experience in working with these people. And I mean, just the fact, that you advocated for a different treatment, you saw it working over in Rome, and that is what is truly, just giving you hope now. And again, you're going to have an all clear on March 22nd. I believe that so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And they are welcome to message me anytime or
Yeah.
email me I'll give you my information.
Yeah.
I will help anyone. Feel
I
free to contact me.
Oh, thank you so much. And, and I think too, just bringing in my faith a little bit, there's something I like to call it God logic. And it's what I call the purposeful placement of people in our lives that are there to help us. And I just think it's so cool. Just all the people that have been brought into your life to help you. And I'm so grateful that I got to meet you. I mean, guys, here's what's crazy. I literally just a couple days ago met Roxanne, and literally that same day, you're like, yes, I will help. I'll speak on your podcast. We didn't even know each other. Like, and this is the first time that we've ever actually talked in person, like through a Zoom. But that just shows you the size of her heart to help other people. And so Roxanne, if someone did want to get in touch with you, I know you've got 2 Facebook groups. Do you have an email address?
For now, I just do my Roxverm, ROXVERM at iCloud.com.
Yeah, say your email one more time so that people on the podcast can just hear it and write it down. So have a pen if you're on the podcast.
Okay, it's Roxverm.
So ROX and then VERM as in Mary, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
At iCloud.com.
Okay, perfect. At iCloud.com. Thank you so, so much. This has just
thank you.
Absolutely amazing getting to just meet you. And I just think, just you radiate light, by the way. And,
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate you. And, this has just been such a wonderful experience today. And I just think it's so amazing to think about how many future lives are going to be impacted and changed and saved because of this 45 minutes that you spent today. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that's what life's all about. We all have struggles, we all have disruptions in our lives, but we are not put on this planet to just simply live selfishly for ourselves. We have a duty, a moral duty, to share our struggles, to be transparent, and to help serve other people. That's what this is all about serving others. And I am just so honored to call you a new friend, Roxanne. So thank you
Oh,
so much.
and I am so honored to
Yeah.
have met you. Oh my
Oh,
God. Thank
thank
you for
you.
doing this today. It means so much to
Oh,
me.
you are so welcome. And like I said, I can't wait to get off. I got my calendar right here. And ironically, my cross that I made
Oh
is
my
not
gosh.
it.
Thank
But
you.
I'm literally going to be adding Roxanne March 22nd. I'm going to be checking on you, and I'm going to be adding you to my morning prayer list that day. So
Thank you very, very, very much.
you're
That means a lot.
you're so welcome. And guys, just again, I have started building a website, just dawnfunk.com, and we'll also have information there about if you're interested in the cookies, to help in that way with sponsoring people with Christina's program. So you can, continue to check that to find out more information. I believe we're also going to have the podcasts and things at justdawnfunk.com, so people can find out more information there as well. So thank you so much, Roxanne, and may God bless you. And thank you to everyone who's listening to this. If you have someone on your heart that that needs to hear this message, please, please, please share this with them. That is such a huge step of just stewardship. And I just can't stress enough, man, just don't keep this information to yourself. Please let people know about this podcast, or if you're watching it on the YouTube channel. So have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much.